What if I told you that everything that is going on in your life that is creating a resistance in you that shouldn't be there, makes you unhappy, that frustrates you, that all this is a beautiful gift for you to become more of the pure essence that you are. With this attitude, I'm trying to go more and more through life. And if you are following my journey over the past months and years closely, you know that I'm going through a very challenging time right now. That this year of 2023, is a year that is very unlike the 2 years before. In 2021 and 2022, I was all in the mode of execution, of building, of creating, of going for my vision, like full steam ahead. And this is something that comes very easy and very natural to me. That's the mode that I'm on since around 10 years, since I started my first business. Having an idea, executing on it, learning, growing, and building things in this world. And this is what fulfills me tremendously. And this year, 2023, is characterized by something completely different. The past 7 months of this year are not in this energy of building and manifesting and creating. The past 7 months are really grounded in reflection, in inner work, in feeling, in letting go, in learning, and in reconnection with myself and readjustment. So for the past 7 months, I was really in an introvert mode, and everything that's going on in this world that was caused by me going full steam ahead for the past 2 years in the direction of my vision, building community, going for the Thrive Villages. In December 2021, we opened our first community village in Bali. Then 9 months later, we opened our second community village in Portugal. But in the beginning of this year, we closed both our community villages. And with that, many people that were following our journey closely, or that were a part of it, that were co-creators on this journey, that invested, that made this journey happen, were really upset, really sad. And I can totally understand that, because when we went out with our big vision of bringing community into this world and painting a really vibrant image of communities on every continent, in every country, of people living together in harmony with themselves, with the people around them, with nature, and really creating another kind of living and being together. This attracted a lot of people who signed up for this vision, and then seeing that the first phase of 2 community villages being started and being closed again was not as successful as we hoped for, created a lot of sadness, a lot of grief, a lot of disappointment, and a lot of people who were with us on this journey. And I want to share in this episode my individual process that I went through as a leader of this movement, dealing with all the stuff that was coming up, and that I needed to face, and all the growth that this demanded of me. And I think the coming minutes can be useful for everybody who's either in a different situation right now as well, with things not going as planned, or as a preparation for when you will be in such a situation. Because to be honest, this year has been characterized by the most growth in my 33 years that I'm walking on this planet Earth so far. And I would call it my personal purification. And I'm immensely grateful for that, as difficult as this process is. And why all the things that are currently in our lives, like on an individual level, in my life, in your life, or on a collective level, everything that we see on this planet right now that makes us sad, that frustrates us, that evokes a feeling of this is not right, this shouldn't be there. Like so many species of animals like becoming extinct, and climate change, and people getting more and more unhappy, and economic meltdown, and everything that's going on this planet. When we really zoom out, lets us arrive at the realization that, yeah, that there is a lot of work to be done. That there's a lot of work to be done. And at the same time, I strongly sense, and this is very alive in me right now, that all this is a beautiful gift. Everything that's going on in our individual or in our collective lives that fucks us up, that makes us sad, that creates a resistance, that frustrates us, is a beautiful, beautiful gift from life itself, and is an invitation for purification. And I want to share with you my individual journey, with the aim of maybe inspiring you to look at your path and your obstacles that are currently there from a different angle, and let go of all the resistance, and take this as an invitation of discover more of who you are and discover more of who you are not. And when I compare myself right now, end of July 2023, to the version of myself 7 months ago in the beginning of this year, I don't recognize myself. Like, I see this Robert 7 months ago as, oh my God, wow, you lived in a completely different world. And I don't mean this like on the outside, I mean this on the inside. The growth that I was fortunate enough to receive over the past 7 months, as difficult and as challenging as it was, transformed me from the inside to the outside. And this leaves me right now with so much peace and so much acceptance and surrender, and so much gratitude as well. Because I believe the moments where something in our lives is not unfolding the way we wanted it, is maybe a greater teacher than all the successes we can have. Yeah. So let's go a little bit back in time. This year started with both of our community villages being closed. December and January, we closed Bali and we closed Portugal, out of different reasons. I talked about that a lot in the past. I don't want to go super deep into that. And then we communicated a lot with our Thrive passport holders, with the people who signed up for this mission. And we said, guys, there were certain things that were not going like ideally, and we are learning from that, and we are integrating all that in order to fulfill this vision. We need to look at it, a lot of things that were not turning out as we hoped for. And this is an invitation for us to really figure out how to live community, how to build community. But right now, yes, right now. You signed up for this vision. Maybe you had the desire of in 2023 moving into one of our community villages. We cannot provide that right now. There is no community right now. There's a lot of inner work that's taking place, a lot of research, a lot of reflection, but you cannot move into a community village. And we said, guys, if you want to no longer participate in this movement, we offer you the chance to ask for a refund, and we will issue all the refunds. We cannot issue them right now because we don't have the capital for that. Because all the investments that were coming in went into creating the first two communities and to really making it happen. So there is no capital there for issuing the refunds. But we are working on creating the capital so that when you want to step out of this movement, we want to make this possible, because we don't want to force anybody to continue on this path together because of all the changes that are going on right now. And then some people say, okay, I want to leave. I want to ask for a refund. And other people said, like, no, I want to be a part of this vision still. And then over the frustration that was caused in the sphere of the Thrive passport holders, who said, like, okay, I asked for a refund, and still, even though I asked for a refund, I'm not happy that I can't get a refund now. And I'm afraid, like a lot of people were afraid that, like, this whole journey of building communities, like, now over. Okay, this mission failed. It's like we will disappear from the earth. Robert will retire in Bali, and I lost my money. So this was a fear in many people, and I can totally understand that. If you invested like 1,000 euros or 2,000 euros into this movement, and then things don't turn out as expected, and both community villages close, and there's no alternative already existing. Of course, there's maybe this fear of, okay, it just was a failure, and it won't be continued. For me, it was like totally clear in every second that this is just a chapter. This is just a chapter on the way to this like long-term vision. And I always communicated, like, we cannot make this happen like overnight. We cannot make this happen like in 1 or 2 years. It takes decades. And we are learning a lot right now. And if I could go back in time, I would do things differently, of course. But things are as they are, and we are learning from that. And then we'll continue to be on this path. That was totally clear, and I communicated that. But still, I can totally understand that people were afraid that this won't be the case. So there was a lot of negativity, a lot of disappointment, and this combined with some of the people who stayed in either in Bali or in Portugal, being not happy with the closure of the community, and who said, like, okay, I wanted to live this way, and I signed up for your vision, and now the community is not there anymore, and I'm really upset. And I can 100% understand that as well. And this combined together and created like a strong energy field of negativity, on which some of the media outlets connected. And then there was first an article in one of the German newspapers, and then later there was a short documentary on one of the German television outlets, and both of them like critiqued our vision and critiqued what we did, and didn't like objectively look at the situation from all angles, which you could ask for, which you could ask of a representative like newspaper or television. Like, I know of some people who had a really great time at one of the community villages, and who said, like, hey, I want to talk to to the news people as well, but they didn't want to listen. They only wanted to listen to people who were like really upset. But yeah, it is how it is. Let's not talk about the media landscape. And two pieces, and one of the newspapers and one of the television channels got published, and this really enhanced the field of negativity, of people thinking that we like scammed people on purpose and that we earned a lot of money, and now Robert retires in Bali and never has to work again because he like stole all the money from all the people. And there were like lots of different rumors who were that were going on. There was a large crowd of a large cloud of negativity, and that created a lot of resistance in me, because of course I can only see myself on the inside, and I see like I did my best like all the time, and at the same time I did some decisions that were not beneficial to the vision, but I did my best, and I am coming with pure intentions. I really want to make this happen. And like for me, like getting criticized for trying to take advantage of people and trying to rip off people, and then looking at my inside and seeing that like I'm the person out of every human being I know that cares like least about like owning any like expensive toys or earning a lot of money. For me, it was always like, okay, money is a nice lever for creating something in the world, but I don't need anything of that. Of course, I want to be able to pay for my mangoes and my papayas and my little bamboo hut, but besides that, I don't need a lot of money. So I was, yeah. And then and then seeing that image that gets painted is an image like, okay, Robert rips off people and is only in there for the money. And that created a lot of resistance, because I felt like, hey, this is so wrong. This is so far away from the reality. Um, and I created a lot of resistance. And there was a part inside myself that didn't wanted to look at everything that was going on, because I was like, hey, I know myself. I know how the reality is. Okay, just let them talk. But on a deeper level, I was afraid that like all this negativity that is there will ruin my my standing and how people think of me. And this underlying feeling that could arise of like real sadness and real grief and real, oh, maybe even not having an answer, maybe even like being desperate and seeing all this negativity, seeing all this mess, and saying and needing to acknowledge, shit, I don't know how to fix this. I don't know what to do. Like, this is something that I avoided. And out of this out of this avoidance, I immediately was like, okay, project wasn't successful. We need to learn, like we need to iterate, and then go on. Like every good entrepreneur, everything that is everything that didn't work out needs to be analyzed quickly, and then there needs to be a plan for how to continue. And I was in this like doing mode for the first months of this year. Um, because I felt a strong urge to really present an alternative very, very quickly, so that this negativity that is out there shifts, and people, like, as soon as possible, realize that that I'm not a bad person, that I'm a good person. That I need to come into a situation as soon as possible, to repay all the outstanding all the outstanding refunds, and have a plan how to continue on this journey. And that's, of course, that's good. That's good. But not when it's a coping mechanism for not wanting to feel what is really going on. And over the past months, I was fortunate to realize that the plan, the next steps, the going ahead will arise naturally and effortlessly after you really faced everything that is there. And I think that is one of the weaknesses of a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of like go-getters, type A people who are like, okay, I want to build something. That when something goes not as expected, there is a resistance of really looking at that, because of a fear of realization, of realizing, or of childhood limiting beliefs of not being good enough, and so on, being triggered, and this causes pain, and we don't want this, and that's why we immediately focus on how we can fix all that. So when the two or when the second piece came out on the television channel, and the negativity bubble like started to be really active, then there was a thread on Reddit that was created about Elina and me, and one of our team members forwarded it to me after a couple of days, and see like, hey, people are talking about you guys, and really sharing their points of views, and rumors, and gossiping, and yeah, really like talking like about everything. And in the beginning, I was like, okay, whatever, let them talk. I had like, over the past years, I had many occasions where people, like, I'm used to people being negative, negative about me. Like, I I think this is something that you need to, this is an attitude that you need, or this is a character trait that you need to develop when you are out there on social media, that there will always be like people, always be people like talking badly about you because of anything. I remember a situation many, I think 7 years ago, 8 years ago. I was doing daily vlogs on YouTube. I was like putting my thoughts every day into the internet, with the goal of trying to help people. And then I launched a Patreon campaign. Patreon is a tool that creators use, like filmmakers or musicians or artists, as a tool that they used, for giving their audience the possibility to contribute to their work, and to sign up for a small membership and pay a couple of bucks every month, to get like special perks, and to basically support the creator for the work they are doing. And I launched a Patreon campaign, and because many people contacted me and said like, hey, I love your daily vlog so much. What is something that I can do besides like clicking on like and sharing it with my friends? I want to support. I want to contribute. And I said, okay, like, let's let's offer this Patreon possibility to people who want that. It's completely optional. And then I launched that, and there were like so many people. I remember the YouTube video when I shared that, it was like more disliked. That was back in the days when YouTube had the dislike button. They removed that in the meantime. Um, and uh, and when I launched that, there were like way more dislikes than likes, and people were people were complaining like, hey, you are running a business and you are offering courses. Why do you need to ask for donations and da 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 da? And I said like, hey, it's an option. People ask me, they want to contribute, and they don't want to sign up for my 300 euro online course. They want to contribute with $10 a month, and this is an option, and you don't need to take it. And there was like so much negativity, and that was I think the second big negativity wave that I needed to deal with. That was really hard at the time. The first one was at my third, like I was really a newbie in this game. In 2013, I started my first business. I started a blog about the raw vegan diet that I was following at this time for almost 3 years, 2.5 years. No, 3.5 years. For 3.5 years. And like I think the third article that I wrote was analyzing which is the ideal diet for human beings, and I compared like eating plants to eating meat. And I really researched a lot. I read a lot of books. Like really scientific. It was a nice article. I was really proud of that. And then I published it. And then next morning I woke up. I was laying in bed, and I got a response that was even longer than the article itself. And the person like really like coming with this energy of like, you suck and you better stop doing what you're doing because it's so shitty and it's so wrong on every level. And that caught me really unprepared. Um, and I was going through a hard time. I was really thinking about, maybe I should delete the whole article. Maybe I need to make a statement that I'm so sorry. And after a while, I realized like, oh, this is the view of this person, and I can have another view, and both of them can exist. And I came into existence. I came into acceptance, but it took a long time. And then there was this Patreon thing, and then there were like many more situations over the past months, over the past years, where I needed to deal with criticism. So um, it is not the first time that this is happening, and everything that happened over the past years like set me on this path and prepared me for that. And I think, and at the same time, it's like by far the biggest negativity cloud that I needed to deal with. And that's why in the beginning of this year, I think there was this urge of, wow, I need to present the plan. I need to present like what is going on as soon as possible. But there was this underlying fear that all these people talking badly about me, that I couldn't I couldn't hold this. I didn't want to hold this. It was like, oh, no, 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 go away, go away. And I started reading a little bit on Reddit, and then I was like, okay, no, I need to get rid of that, because when I would dive in really deep, there was this fear of, or maybe I will get so drawn into this like negativity bubble that I won't be able to present an alternative. And then in the beginning of this year, in the team, there was this attitude of, okay, let's isolate Robert. Robert will focus on what do we need to do next, and the other team members will communicate with everybody who's upset, and will go back and forth, da 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 da. But let's not get Robert like too close, because he needs to focus on the next steps. Um, and like, this is something that makes sense. Like, okay, some people have this job, some people have this job. Um, but over the past months, I was able to learn that this is not the right approach. That this is not the right approach. And I want to share with you why. Um, so in this, like going for it, presenting an alternative, needing to figure out what is coming next, I worked a lot. I really worked a lot. I didn't take a lot of time for reflection for myself, and I was deeply into, okay, figure everything out, create a different setup for Thrive, and create a master plan, and then launching next offers. And I really worked a lot. I think as well, because of this fear of when I would really create the time and space, that there will be a lot of emotions that will come up, and oh, I didn't want it to deal. I didn't want it to deal with that. I didn't want it to deal with that. Um, and then I went into this mode, and then after a couple of months, all the things that I was creating and that I was planning, like they didn't turn out as successful as I hoped for. They were not this, okay, like Thrive immediately accumulate a lot of capital to repay the refunds, and then everything is beautiful and shiny again. It was not as successful. We learned a lot as well. It was nice. It was very a good journey, but it didn't lead to this outcome of like quickly having the situation solved. And now I realize that through me going into this immediately solution oriented mode, I actually prolonged the journey. Yeah. And at the same time, everything is completely perfect. Everything is completely perfect. And this was the purification I needed. This was really the purification I needed. Because after a while, I more and more leaned into the negativity, and I tried to avoid it less and less and less. I started doing calls with passport holders who issued a refund. I said like, okay, guys, until we are at a point that we are able to issue your refund, you will get an interest on your payment until you are repaid. And at the same time, I offer a part of my weekly work time for free for you. If I can support you in any way, I can offer coaching. I can offer any sort of like connection or whatever you need. I'm there. And then I had a couple of calls with passport holders, like really, they were like, okay, coming in, and I I had a I had a I had I had some calls, um and there I really like the beginning of the call was like an energy of, hey, I'm disappointed and I'm sad, and I held this, and I apologized for not being able to provide what you hoped for. And then this energy shifted, and it was a, okay, hey, I'm at this situation right now, and maybe you can support me. And then we had a beautiful coaching session. After the 60 minutes or 90 minutes, the person was like, wow, that was something completely unexpected, and I'm so grateful for everything that I was able to receive, and for you taking the time and really listening to me and supporting me. And the whole energy shifted. And after a couple of calls, I leaned in even more into the negativity, and I started to read like and pay really close attention to what the people on Reddit are posting, um, and what they are saying. And my first reaction was this resistance, because it was like pretty soon it was not about uh, people talking about like Thrive and the villages and what went wrong and da 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 da, but it would really go on a personal level and analyzing my whole psyche and my relationship life, and really like pulling other people that had nothing to do with it like into and talking badly about friends of mine. And there was a lot of resistance inside myself, and that if it would be like a physical gathering, not be online, like people in the room, I would like open the room and I was like, shut the fuck up, what are you doing here? This is like so mean, this is so unfair, this is so inhumane. And I was like preparing a post. I was really, over a couple of days, I was preparing a post. And it's so, uh, 2 podcast episodes ago, I talked about the surrender experiment and really surrendering to life. And it's so beautiful that I really drafted a long post that was really like, stop the fuck what you're doing here. And then I wanted to post this, but I couldn't access Reddit. I couldn't log in. The page was not working. And I thought like there was like temporarily server problems. And I tried again the next day, and it was not working as well. And then I had a chat with a friend of mine, and she said, no, it's working. And I asked other people, and they said like, no, it's working. We are on the same. We are on the page. And I was like, huh? How can that be? How can that be? Like, why is it not working for me? And then I was like, oh, maybe there's a problem with Indonesia. And then I used the VPN client, and now I could access Reddit. And then I was reading again, and it was a couple of days after I drafted this really angry post. And then I was reading more, and I spent the whole evening. I spent the whole evening like reading what these people are writing about me, and all the everything that they are like, all the assumptions and all the, yeah. And the more I dove into that, the less my urge to put this post in there became. Um, yeah. And then at the end of the evening, I was like, do I still want to post this? I don't know. Let's sit there, and I will check in tomorrow morning. And the next morning, it was very clear that I don't want to put this post in there. Yeah. Mm. And they're a huge part of the acceptance that is now there. Got into my system, and I really felt like, okay, let these people do whatever they want to do. Let these people do. And then the more I dove into what they are saying, the more I realized like, oh yeah, there are certain parts that are really valuable for me. That are really valuable. They are pointing out some weaknesses that I have, or they are seeing something that I see myself as well, and that I'm working on right now. And I'm like, yes, sure, that's right. That's right. This is something that I'm not good at. This is something that I need to work on. Yes, absolutely. And there were a lot of other things where I was like, what the fuck? This is so far away from the truth. You don't even know me. And you cannot like anyway. But there are valuable nuggets in there for me. And I was like, okay, yeah, thank you. Thank you. But the most the most valuable gift that I was able to receive through all this like negativity on Reddit was really coming, and it took quite a while, and I'm not fully there yet, but more and more I'm leaning into this attitude of really accepting, really like on every level accepting that this is taking place right now, that there are like hundreds of people who are talking so negatively about me, and that this is okay, and that it's okay that they are doing that. Because like for the first months that I was witnessing that, my ego didn't want that to be the case. My ego wanted to be liked by everybody. My ego wanted to be like the person who is successful on every level, and that this part of the Thrive journey is only a chapter, and we will like the hero's journey that you see in all the movies. Okay, some kind of failure is taking place, and then like immediately rising as the phoenix from the ashes. And I wanted to be perceived in this way. So I had a hard time accepting that this negativity is there. And out of that, out of this resistance was this anger born of this post that I drafted, that I wanted to stop. I just wanted to stop that this is happening. I didn't want it to happen. No, 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 no. This needs to stop. Because my ego didn't like it. My ego was afraid. My ego was afraid of not being liked. My ego was afraid of uh, yeah, on the deepest level, it's the fear of abandonment. It's the fear of abandonment when people don't like us. We're a social animal, and when we lived in the Stone Ages and our community, our group abandoned us, then yeah, we would live and nobody would watch out for us, and we would get eaten by the saber-toothed tiger, and then it was over. So it's good that we develop this ego that tries to protect us and that always wants to be liked. But if we are living our life from this point of serving the ego, then we are always in survival mode. We are always in survival mode because every day there can be situations where, like, it can be somebody when we are on the way to our job. There can be like somebody in the subway looking, making a weird look, or like some colleague making a comment about our shoes or whatever. Every day there can be so many situations where our survival like is threatened because there are people who don't like us. Or maybe maybe it's just a misunderstanding, but our ego like interprets this weird look as something that is directed against us, but maybe it was just the person having something, I don't know, having something flew in their eye or whatever. We don't even know if it has something to do with us, but our ego is always looking for threats, is always looking for threats. And the path of spiritual growth is to let go of this ego-driven fear more and more and more. Yeah, until maybe someday we will transcend the ego altogether, and we will live just as the pure essence that we are, without anything that we need. I don't know if this will happen. I don't know if this is even the goal. I don't see it as a goal. It's just like, it feels like a destination to free ourselves more and more of all the fears that the ego creates, and all the freedom that is not experienced. Because when we are living our lives from our egos, we are so unfree. We are so unfree because every day there can be so many things happening that threaten our ego and that make us unfree and that make us unhappy as well. Of course, when we are living from this standpoint, it's not a fulfilling life. It's not a fulfilling life. It's characterized by fear. It's characterized by permanently being on your toes, of being able to fight. That's a pretty undesirable life. Yeah. So the spiritual growth that I was able to experience over the past couple of months came through the realization that the best thing to do is to accept everything that is there. That's the best thing we can do, because only when we accept everything that is there right now, when we stop fighting with current reality, when we are not in resistance anymore, only then we are able to really act on what we want to act on. Like, because then the fight stops and we can actually do whatever we want to do, and internally we are free. We are finally free because the resistance is gone. Michael Singer talks about the spiritual journey as characterized, like, fundamentally by a process of letting go of any resisting and any clinging. What does he mean by that? Every time something is taking place in our lives that we don't like, we resist. Okay, there's a negative comment on Reddit. I don't like that. I resist this. I don't want this to be there. If I would be like a magical fairy and I could just snip it with my finger, I would make that it's not there. Like this is resisting. When the magical fairy would come and say like, you have a wish, you have a wish. What do you wish for? And you would say like, I want that this comment is not there. I want that this coworker would not have said this. I want that my partner would have not done this, or that my client would have not quitted working with me, or whatever. If we would do this, then we are in resistance. And when we are in resistance to the current reality, we are not free. We are not free. And a lot of our energy, a lot of our attention is bound by this perceived threat. And the same is true for anything beautiful taking place in our lives. Like everything that is there right now, think of everything that is taking place in your lives right now that makes you really happy, that makes you really fulfilled, that is like really nice. The beautiful home you have, or the amazing relationship, or the healthy body, or the nice car, or whatever is in your life right now that you are like, oh my God, yes, this is so nice. There is a huge tendency that you cling to these things. Because if I would be the magical fairy and I would come to you and say like, no, let's turn everything around. I'm taking your nice relationship. It's not there anymore. I'm taking your nice car. It's not there anymore. You lost it. If this evoke a reaction from you that is like, oh no, I want to no, leave, please, don't take away my car, don't take away my nice relationship, don't take away my nice house, don't take away my six pack, don't take away this, don't take away that. I need these things, I want please don't take them away. If this is our reaction, then we cling to those things. We are attached. We are really attached. We attached our happiness. We attached our self-worth. We attached our feeling of everything is good to these certain manifestations in our life. Our relationship, our car, our body, our successful business, our huge Instagram following, or whatever. And this as well causes us to not be free. Because these things, like the existence, the manifestation of these things in our lives, is threatened every day as well. Like every time our partner doesn't answer to our WhatsApp message after 24 hours, there could be this fear of maybe they met somebody else, maybe they will leave us. Every time this nice car that we parked somewhere has a scratch on the side because of somebody not being careful with parking their car or parking too closely to ours, like the existence of our beautiful car is threatened. Um, every time our body is not feeling well, and we don't go to the gym, like our nice body is threatened. So we are in this threat, like alert mode all the time. And this causes us to not be free. And so much of our energy is bound by the things that we resist and by the things that we cling to. So the whole purpose of our spiritual journey, of our spiritual growth, is to release these resistances and to release the things that we cling to. When we would arrive at the point, and this is not me saying that I'm anywhere closely to being there, I'm on my journey, And I made a lot of steps. I made a lot of steps over the past months. And this actually, right now, makes me feel very free. Makes me feel very free. And that's a beautiful feeling, I can tell you. And at the same time, I know that there is a lot of steps to be gone. Yeah. But if we would arrive at a point that if somebody takes away our nice car, or if somebody takes away our nice relationship, our partner tells us, like, I don't want to be with you anymore, or if due to any reason our body falls out of shape, if that wouldn't threaten our feeling of everything is good, and we would still feel good, and we would still feel at peace with our life, even if these things were to be taken away, then we are free. Then we are really free because we are not attached to these certain outcomes. And the same is true for the things that we resist. What if these people on Reddit would think negatively about me for the rest of their lives? If I can accept that, then I'm free. Then I'm really free. If I can walk, if I can walk happily on the surface of this earth for the rest of my existence, knowing that there are people who think negatively about me, and I can still feel good, then I'm free. Then I accepted that. Then I accepted that. Yeah. And this is what I meant by saying that everything that's taking place in our lives that we're not happy with is an invitation for purification. Yeah. Because our purest essence is not our ego. Our purest essence is our infinite soul, is our inner observer, like that's sitting like really like in the back of our heads, that is observing everything. And when we think this through, we arrive at the very deep conclusion that we are not our ego. We are not our physical body. We are not our thoughts. We are not our beliefs. We are not our fears. And we are not our beautiful emotions that we have. We are the infinite self. We are pure awareness, pure, infinite, limitless awareness that's just observing. We are consciousness. That's it. That's who we are. I'm not Robert. I'm not this human being. I'm not this fear. I'm not this excitement. I'm just the one that's observing all that, like watching a movie. Oh, this is how the character this is how the character plays out. Ah, he's going through this challenge right now. Oh, that's interesting. And let's see how this movie continues. If we can approach our lives a little bit more from this attitude of just observing what's going on. Oh, he's so happy. He's so in love right now. Oh, interesting. Let's see how it continues. Oh, he's so like really on the bottom. He hit like rock bottom and he's so upset and so afraid. And oh, that's interesting. Let's see how the movie continues. Yeah. These words are my invitation for myself and for you and for everybody with whom they resonate, to approach our lives a little bit more every day, a little bit more with this attitude, because this is what liberates us. When we realize that we are not everything that we believe that we are. We are not the body, we are not the feelings, we are not the thoughts, we are not the emotions. We are just consciousness observing all that. And when we embrace that, when we step into who we really are, and when we let go of everything that we are not, it becomes pretty easy not to cling to something, and it becomes pretty easy to not resist something because it's not us. We are just watching a movie. We are just watching a movie. Like all these people on Reddit, or the nice car, or the relationship, or whatever. It's just an, oh, interesting. Life plays out like this. Oh, let's see how it continues. The reason why we as infinite consciousness incarnated, like incarnate, in flesh, like we came into this human body and into this life, into this like physical world, is just to experience how it is to be a human, with everything that comes with that. With all the highs, with all the lows, with all the emotions, with all the thoughts, with all the overwhelm, with all the like feeling upset, with all the love, with all the excitement, with all the sadness, with all the grief, with all the anger, with all the joy, everything. This is why we came here, to make experiences, to watch a movie, to just observe how it is to be a human being. That's why we stepped into, like, we as infinite consciousness stepped into this human body for the next 180 years. Yeah. And when we realized that, for me, there was a pretty liberating moment. There was a pretty liberating moment, because it was easy to accept everything. Because imagine you going to the cinema. A couple of days ago, I went to the cinema and I watched the Oppenheimer movie. And there were some challenges that J. Robert Oppenheimer, the main character, had. And when somebody would ask me, "Ah, do you resist what is he going through?" Or then he found his wife and they married. And do you cling to that? What if he would break up with her partner, or what if his partner broke up with him? Like, would you cling to that, or could you just like continue watching the movie peacefully? And I would say, like, I don't even care. Like, I don't even care. I don't resist anything. I don't cling to anything. I'm just here to watch a movie. And if this means that the relationship will end, I'm totally fine. I'm totally fine. And actually, it's the same with our lives. When we really go on this spiritual journey, it's the same with our lives. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? Can you imagine living your life from this place of full acceptance of everything that's going on right now that is so nice and that you cling to, and everything that is so bad that you resist? Can you imagine living your life of accepting all that and perceiving yourself as somebody who's just watching a movie for the next decades? And life becomes pretty easy and pretty beautiful. And that doesn't mean that we just like that we just do nothing and just sit there because everything is pointless. No, we want to experience the human experience. But when a negative emotion, when there's some sadness is arising, we are embracing the sadness with this feeling of like, oh, let me experience how this sadness feels. Let's dive all in. Let's dive all in into this sadness. How does it really feel? How does it feel in my body? Which thoughts get evoked? Um, like, how does it feel in my arms? How does it feel in my chest? Oh, how does it feel in my throat? I want to experience. I want to be the sadness. I want to be it. And then the sadness will go, because this is how emotions work. When they are really embraced and when they are really felt, they just go. And after maybe a couple of minutes, maybe a couple of hours, maybe a couple of days, they will just vanish. And then there will be joy. And then we are like, oh my God, let's experience joy. How does joy really feel like? Give me everything. Give me every ounce of joy. Let's squeeze it as, oh, this is joy. Wow. Hmm. That would be a life that would be so much richer. And at the same time, it would equip us with so much better gear to encounter all the challenges that are there in our lives, because stop they stop being challenges. They stop being obstacles. They stop being threats, like the people on Reddit, or the neighbor talking badly about you, or the partner breaking up with you, or the car that's getting scratched. Like, they are not obstacles anymore. They are not challenges anymore. They are just things that are taking place, that are actually out of our control. It's like, it's so hilarious that we as human beings develop this audacity of really believing that we could control reality, that we could control, like, this other guy at the parking lot at the supermarket, how they are parking their car, and that they are not scratching ours, that we are able to control the reality of our partner, that they don't find somebody else and break up with us. That we have the audacity to really believe that? This, like, baffles me. It's just like, life on this planet exists since 13.8 billion years. And there are 8 billion people on this planet. And we still believe that we can control the outside world. This is hilarious. This is just hilarious. And with this realization, for me, came a lot of humility. A lot of humility. Of realizing, like, who am I to cling to anything? Who am I to think to 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 think that I can predict the future, or I can judge what is good, what is bad? I cannot judge what is good, what is bad. Like, my first relationship, my first romantic relationship that I was in, like, when she broke up with me, I was like crying. That was so hard. That was so hard. I loved her so much. It was so hard. It was so hard. I had such a beautiful time with her. And when somebody would have asked me in this very moment, do you see this as a bad or a good thing? I would say, like, are you kidding me? Of course that's a bad thing. That's one of the worst things that ever happened in my entire life. And I resisted her breaking up with me tremendously. I didn't want it to be true. And then a couple of years later, if somebody asked me, hey, this breakup, like back in the days, do you see this as a good thing or as a bad thing? I would say, like, I don't even need to think about that. It's such a good thing because of all the growth that was taking place. Because I lost myself in this relationship. I lost myself. And yeah, maybe that's one of the reasons why she broke up with me. I lost myself in this relationship. And after this relationship, I was able to spend a lot of time alone. And that was beautiful because I discovered more of myself. And I actually enjoyed being alone. Like, back in the days, I didn't enjoy being alone. When I was sitting alone on Friday night, I felt like a loser because all the cool people are out there and having nice adventures and going to parties and doing whatever, and I'm sitting here alone. Okay, I must be a loser. I didn't enjoy spending time alone. And after this breakup, I received the gift of enjoying to be alone. And this continued to nourish me up until the present moment. Spending time alone for me is one of the most beautiful things in this life. I enjoy it, like, so much. So much. So when somebody would have approached me a couple of years later, I would say, like, this is the one of the greatest things that ever happened to me. And in the very moment that it took place, I was like, no, this is one of the worst things that happened to me. And I had so many moments in my entire life where this shift of judgment took place, of thinking it's bad and then thinking it's good, or thinking it's good and then thinking it's bad and then thinking again it's good. And now I'm like, who am I to judge? Who am I to judge? And this categorization into something is either good or something is either bad is pointless. It's pointless because things are just as they are. That our partner broke up with us, or that our nice car got scratched, or that the people on Reddit are talking negatively. This is neither good, like people, this is neither good nor bad. This is just how it is. This is just reality. And it's my invitation to accept that. Because who am I to not accept it? Who am I to not accept it? Who am I to say, like, this is wrong? No. Everything, like the infinite wisdom of life that's taken place in 13.8 billion years is so much more wise than me. Who am I to judge this as something that's wrong? Like the only sensible the only sensible thing to do after realizing that is to accept and to just like surrender and to be like, okay, okay, okay. Let me just observe what is going on. Let me just observe how this makes me feel. And let's just enjoy the ride with everything that entails. Let's just enjoy the ride. Let's just experience this life with all the sadness, with all the joy, and everything in between. And seeing everything that's taking place in our lives as an invitation to let go of clinging and resisting. And this is what I mean by the great purification. And this is why I'm immensely grateful for the negativity that's out there, because it brought me closer to who I really am, to the infinite consciousness, and to let go of this feeling of, let go of this desire of being liked by other people. Because if you want to be liked by other people, you are not free. You're not free to share your gifts fully, because your agenda is first and foremost predicated on being liked and looking good and looking smart. When this is your first, second, third, fifth, fourth, fifth point on the agenda, then and some like down the road is coming. I want to be of service. I want to support. I want to spread my gifts. I want to experience this life. Then yeah, we cannot live life fully. So the first step for me was to let go of the resistance towards the resistance. And maybe maybe this something rings inside yourself when I say that. So often in life we have situations where we actually like, oh no, 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 I don't want this. And then our like, call it higher self, call it consciousness, call it spiritual self, whatever, is entering the scene and says like, oh no, no, don't resist. And then we are resisting even more, that we are resisting that we are resisting right now. And it's not anymore about the thing at hand, but it's about like resisting that we are resisting. And then we're like, oh no, 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 no. Oh, I don't want to resist anymore. Even saying that, yeah, I think you recognize that. Um, and that was the first thing for me, to come into acceptance that I'm resisting right now. And when I'm coming into acceptance that I'm resisting right now, then the resistance will fade away, and the acceptance will prevail. Mm. And of course, that is not like one-time event, and then you you will understand how everything works, and then you will be in full acceptance with everything. That's a journey. That's a journey of every day's journey. But this journey got really intense for me over the past, I would say, 2, 3, 4 weeks. Like this month, July, is really a breakthrough month for me. And that's why I feel called to record this podcast episode now, because I'm so like it's so immediate. I'm so like fully in this process right now. And every day I remind myself that I'm just here to experience this reality, everything that comes along with it. Yeah, a beautiful, beautiful phrase that I'm repeating over and over again is, and Michael Singer said that as well, is, oh, this this is the image that is getting rendered by source in this present moment. Oh, interesting. Thank you for that. When we can say that in each and every moment, and everything that we perceive as good and everything that we perceive as bad, it's our reminder, like all the time, to not cling to the good ones and not to resist the bad ones, and to just be, and to just observe, out of the infinite consciousness that we are, out of our seat of awareness that's just observing. And this is the only thing that we are. Everything else is an illusion. We are not our ego. We are not our body. We are not our feelings. We are not our thoughts. Like the only thing that we are is infinite consciousness that incarnated into this body to have this human experience. And when we remind ourselves like over and over again, and there are so many situations, like every day. I don't like. Let's take an example. I'm with Leonel, with my son, and he's getting tired, and I put him into the sling in order for him to fall asleep, and then he's not falling asleep. And 20 minutes pass, 30 minutes pass, and he's still like, but I know he's tired because he was yawning like 12 times already. And I'm thinking about like, okay, this is taking a long time. That's getting exhausting. I wanted to do something else while he was sleeping, and now time is flying by, and I'm getting hungry, and ah, why is he not sleeping? And yeah, every time I'm in this situation, I'm like reminding myself, oh, this is the image that is getting rendered by source in this present moment. Oh, interesting. Thank you. Thank you that I get to experience that. And this always relieves me. This always relieves me. Asking myself, what is wrong with the present moment? Like really, really, when you're in a situation where you're resisting something, really ask yourself, what is wrong with the present moment? What is wrong with this exact thing that is going on right now? What is wrong with that? And then at first, our ego creates something like, yeah, Leona is not sleeping, and I'm tired, and I'm hungry, and I wanted to do other things, and da 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 da. Creates a long list. And then in the end, we realize, oh, maybe nothing is wrong. Maybe nothing is wrong. Maybe it should be exactly like that. And I don't mean this with an attitude of, okay, I just accept everything. I accept that I'm unhappy. I accept that I'm broke. I accept that there are people like hating me, whatever. I just accept that, and I dwell in this in this in this in the swamp I created, and I'm just unhappy and in misery for the rest of my life. No, when we come into acceptance with this reality that's taking place right now, this liberates us, and it changes our state completely. Because when I'm in this situation and Leona is not falling asleep, and I really ask myself, what is wrong with the present moment? And I let go of the resistance, then I can care for him so much better. Maybe he was not falling asleep because he sensed my resistance, and our two systems were not in alignment. And maybe when I come into acceptance with all that, I can care for him so much better, and then maybe he will fall asleep immediately. Maybe not. But that's none of my business. Who am I to judge when he should fall asleep? Like, this is hilarious. This is hilarious. He is a separate human being. And even I sometimes have moments where I cannot fall asleep even though I'm tired. And then I'm like sitting here and still holding on to this to this belief of you should fall asleep now. Like it's wrong that you're not asleep now. Yeah. Yeah. When we really dive into it deeply, we realize like, yeah, it's just it's just an invitation to accept. It's just an invitation to accept reality, because when we accept reality, we are able to live so much fuller lives, and to make it full circle, when I accept, like, the people on Reddit talking negatively about me, when I accept, like, passport holders being upset that they don't get their refunds now, when I accept that there were people in our Thrive villages who didn't had a great experience, when I really accept that, when I come into peace with that, then so much energy gets liberated, and then I'm able to move forward, whatever that means. The beginning of this year, after the closure of our villages, I wanted to move forward, but actually I moved backwards. I moved backwards through not wanting to feel everything, through out of this resistance of I don't want this part of me, like this part of me, I don't want it to be there. Like I don't want to perceive like this unsuccessful business endeavor. And I want to move on. Let's focus on what is there. That was actually not beneficial. And through coming into acceptance with everything that is there, then we can move on, whatever that means. We already moved on. Yeah, but then we can do certain things in the physical world. And I think like a prejudice is that people think that, okay, when you accept everything, when you are like in peace with everything, then you won't do anything, because change or every action is only driven by something that is not good, and you want to make it better, you want to fix it. Like, this is such a limited worldview. When we really think that we as human beings only act because we want to get something or we want to change something, that's sad. That's really sad. What if we would embrace a worldview of I'm in full acceptance with everything? Everything that's taking place in my individual life and everything that's taking place in life collectively, everything that's taking place on this planet. When I come into full acceptance with that, then my whole system gets liberated, and I'm able to act, I'm able to enjoy, I'm able to contribute, I'm able to really be there as a lighthouse, of unconditional love for other people. Then I will have the greatest effect on change on this planet. But when I'm still fighting because of resistance with the status quo, there won't be a lot of change. Buckminster Fuller says it beautifully. There are two ways to go for change in this world. The first one is to try to fight the existing reality, and the second one is to build a new reality. And building a new reality is the only path. It's the only path. We cannot fight something. When we fight, we nourish the energy field of resistance. But when we accept, and out of this acceptance, move ahead and create the beautiful world that our hearts calls us to, then our energy is pure. It got purified by all the negativity it's going on, like individually or collectively. And this is how I feel right now. I feel so purified. And that's why I feel immense gratitude for the people on Reddit, and for the I even feel immense gratitude for the newspaper and for the television outlet who posted these these articles about me. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for the purification that I was able to receive through this. I'm able to let go of more and more what other people think about me, and to arrive at a certain peace, within myself. Mm. Yeah. And I'm not saying this meaning that I totally don't care that there are people that are upset with some things that I did in the past. Like, part of this purification, and that's why I feel this immense gratitude for the negativity that's out there, because I was able to to like got really hit in the face by things that I didn't do well in the past. And that's a beautiful purification as well. Like realizing that I subscribe to this hype mentality and be like, okay, I need to make it as shiny and as glamorous as possible and as amazing as possible. And I need to speak like only in like like extreme positive language in order to attract the highest amount of people so that we are able to accomplish that. And through that, people took what I said at face value and thought like, okay, if they transfer €1,000 to me and buy the Thrive passport, Robert will take care of all that and will hand like this paradise on the silver tablet, like silver plate. Um, and this is not beneficial. I don't want to be like this anymore. I don't want to create any hype anymore. I just want to communicate where I'm at right now and what I intend on doing, but with a much more grounded, with a much more centered approach and attitude. And being in the here and now and saying like, hey, I want to build community, but I don't have everything figured out. If you want to come on this journey with me together, you're highly welcomed. Let me know. This would be a totally different attitude uh, than the attitude that we showed when we started on this Thrive Village journey. And through all the people that are upset now and through all the negativity that's going on, I'm able to realize that. I'm able to realize that I subscribe to this hype mentality, and this caused like so much of the disappointment and so much of the sadness and so much of the anger that's going on. And I played a huge part in creating that. And that's not something that I want to continue in the future. So everything that's going on around us just wants to purify us. We just need to let it. But in the beginning, my ego was standing in the way. My ego didn't want it to get purified. My ego wanted to be right. My ego wanted to be successful. My ego wanted to be liked. But more and more, I was able to let go of that. I was able to let go. I was able to accept that people don't like me. And then I was able to accept that the first chapter of the Thrive Villages was a failure. And I don't mean this like on every level. It's still important for me to to have a very nuanced way. I wouldn't call it like when people say like, Robert, you need to admit that this was a failure. I don't fully agree with that. It was not a it was a failure regarding like the image that we created. Of course, when you compare it to the image that we created and to everything that we set out, like creating this beautiful world, of course, it's not there yet, so it's a failure. And at the same time, there were so many beautiful things happening, and like I get like incredibly long WhatsApp voice messages from people who stayed with us in the village and said like, oh my God, this period really changed my life. And I'm so grateful for that. And I want to let you know that. And the reaction of the ego would be like, see, I was right. I was right. Like everything, all the negativity that's going on around there is just wrong. This is the truth because these were the people who are still there. But this is a trap as well. This is a trap as well. It's our invitation to let go of all of that. Don't cling to the positive feedback and don't resist the negative feedback and accept everything. And to see all that as a beautiful purification. Realizing where you are invited to grow, realizing where there are parts of yourself that you want to let go of, realizing what you are not. Yeah, it brought me back to myself. Played a huge like everything that's going on there. It played a huge role in me feeling so at peace and so happy. Like So many times every day, out of nothing, I just need to smile. I just need to be like, I feel so connected to myself. I feel so connected to my emotions. Yesterday, I was walking around here, listening to music, and I was crying and I was laughing and like everything in between. And I was experiencing this life so fully. Like with this acceptance comes a depth of life that can be at sometimes overwhelming because it's so rich. Existence gets so rich when we accept everything and we release all the barriers between us and the outside world. When we allow ourselves to be so pure, to get touched by everything. It's a beautiful life. It's such a beautiful life. It's such a rich life. And yeah, I think this is how life should be. This is how life should really be like. And at the same time, I realized like, no, this is not how life should be. It's it's equally good. It's equally good that sometimes we are caught in our ego and then we are in resistance and then we are clinging and then we are in pain, and that's equally good. Who am I to judge? Who am I to judge? What's the problem with right now? Why is right now? Why is the present moment wrong? No, it's not wrong. Even if I'm resisting right now, even if I'm clinging to right now, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. So yeah, I want to invite you to to check in with everything that's going on in your life right now and see where you are in resistance and where you are clinging to something nice. And to allow yourself to drift a little bit every day, a little bit more into this reality of letting go of that. Because this is not who you are. This is not who you are. You are not your ego. You are not your body. You are not your feelings. You are not your thoughts. You are infinite consciousness. You are just pure awareness. You are just here to watch this fucking movie. Nothing else. You're just here to watch this movie and to participate in this movie as fully. Like imagine a cinema that's not only like three-dimensional through some kind of weird goggles that you put on, but like your seat is like shaking. You are smelling something, you are tasting something, something is like literally touching your skin. Like all the senses are involved. Welcome to life. You're watching the most incredible movie, the most immersive movie with all the senses involved. This is life. And it's taking a little bit more than 3 hours I sat in the cinema a couple of days ago. It's taking place for years, for decades, maybe even for centuries. Who knows? This is the great purification. This is the great purification. Everything that's taking place in our lives is an invitation for us to let go, to let go, to learn and to grow. And this is how it has always been. This is not something new. This is how it was always been. Like every partner who broke up with us, every car that got scratched, every person that was talking negatively about us, every business venture that failed, everything that took place in our entire life was an invitation for us to purify, to set ourselves free. The thing is just that most of the times we didn't saw it as that. We saw it as something absolutely awful, and we resisted it. And that's why our lives got difficult. And that's why our lives got maybe at times even overwhelming. And it makes me so sad that there are so many people on this planet that out of this resistance, they end their lives, they commit suicide. because they are so overwhelmed by all the resistance to the things that are going on in their lives. So yeah, that shows us that this movie is quite convincing. This movie is quite convincing, and it's not easy, especially in our current society, to peek behind the curtain and to see that it's just a movie, and it's everything that's taking place is just an invitation for us to accept and to surrender and to become free. Yeah. Couple of potential action steps that really helped me on this journey was, first of all, meditation. Sitting in silence just with myself for 2 hours every day. Today is day 15, beginning of week 3. Over the past 14 days, I sat in silence every day. There were I think 3 days where I just did one session, like 1 hour, and all the other days I did 2 hours, like 1 hour in the morning, 1 hour in the evening. And I did this even though I'm alone with Leonel right now. It's not easy. Like the minute he falls asleep in his morning nap, I get on the yoga mat and I start my meditation. And there were days when he woke up before my 1 hour was finished, and I stayed in meditation. And then one of the most beautiful things that was really hard not to cling on to happened. He roamed around in our 16 square meter bamboo hut. And then after a couple of minutes, he came and he sat in my lap and he stayed there, I think only for a minute. But it was one of the most beautiful minutes ever. I was sitting in meditation and my son was coming there and he was sitting with me. And then, of course, the next day, when he woke up before my hour was finished, I was clinging to it. I was like, please, please come to me. Please stay there for the entire 15 minutes remaining. Oh, that would be so beautiful. But he didn't came. He didn't came. And I needed to let go of that. That was not easy. Yeah. So yeah, meditation every day. And meditation is not something fancy. It's not an app. It's not something guided. No, it's just you close your eyes and you sit. Meditation. The center. You come to the center. Like this hour in the morning and this hour in the evening is my window of awareness, of realizing that I'm just pure consciousness, that I'm not my thoughts, that I'm not my feelings. Yeah. And just sitting there and surrendering to life, and surrendering to the pain in my legs that after 45, 50 minutes starting to hurt because of the uncomfortable position. Even now, like if you're watching the video podcast, you see that I'm moving like so many times through this episode because it gets uncomfortable. And yeah, I didn't treat my body well over the past years. I'm not like super stretchable. Like I need to work on that. But first, I accept that my feet hurt and my leg hurt. I accept that I'm not super flexible right now. I accept that. It's okay. It's okay that this is the reality. Although there's a part in me that's still in resistance and that's like, oh, I want to be more flexible. And I want to sit in like the lotus position, and that would be really, really nice, and that would feel really, really good. But a quite large chunk of myself is an acceptance that this is the reality, and then I'm invited for the last minutes in my meditation to accept the pain. It's a journey. Like every sit in the meditation, there's the pain right now. I don't know for how long. Someday in the future, my legs will be at peace with me sitting in this position. But for now, this is the pain, and then I'm able to accept that as well. I'm able to accept that. Yes. So meditation is invaluable, like so so valuable for me. Because after the meditation, I always feel so calm and so collected and so centered and so aware that I'm able to carry this through everything that's going on in my life as well. That's very important. And then another really important step was to change my diet. Because when you want to purify yourself, you need to purify from the inside out. And what we put into our body plays a huge role. I will record a separate podcast episode on this topic, how my diet looks like right now and what I'm doing to purify my body, because this helped me a lot. Before I was, even though I'm vegan since 13 years, most of the time I numbed myself with food, with salt, with sugar, with processed food. I numbed myself. Yeah. Like most of the food that we eat doesn't support our purification journey. I'm eating very lightly right now. Like everything that I'm putting in my body has very high water content. A lot of juices, a lot of watermelon, coconut, fruits. And this helped my purification journey tremendously. But I will record a separate episode about that. And then it's ultimately just about reminding myself over and over again. And coming into acceptance when I'm not there, and when I cling to something, and when I resist something. Maybe I realize only days later, ah, there I cling to something. Oh, there I resisted something. Okay, what's wrong with now? What's wrong with now? Nothing is wrong with now. Nothing is wrong with now. Because everything that's taking place is an invitation for me to purify. Everything wants to liberate me. When I look into it's so obvious. When we look into nature, when we look into our body, everything is striving for wholeness, for healing, for completion. I hurt my finger a couple of days ago. When I opened my morning coconut, I hurt myself with a knife and it was bleeding. And it's 3 days ago. That was 3 days ago, and it's almost like healed. When I touch it, still hurts a tiny bit, but I think one or two more days and it will be like completely gone. My body does that. This is the magic of nature. This is the magic of life. Healing. It cannot, like, it's super difficult to stop healing. Everything strives towards healing. Everything strives towards wholeness. And when we realize that this is our normal mode of operation, then it becomes much more easy. Because we don't need to do any certain things. We just need to leave everything else out. We just need to leave the foods out that are not good for our body. We just need to, leave the things out. And all this begins with first accepting that we are feeding our bodies with things that are not good, with thoughts, with food, and so on and so on and so on. And on a deeper level, there is no such thing as not good. Because even eating at McDonald's, which is obviously not healthy for our body, and maybe afterwards feeling a little bit bad, is an invitation for us to purify, to liberate, because we realize that our stomach hurts. Oh, nice. Oh, nice. Our stomach hurts. How interesting is that? Why is that the case? Oh, maybe that was because of me eating 4 cheeseburgers for dinner. Oh, interesting. Do I want to continue this or no? I don't know. But I'm in acceptance that this is the case. And I'm grateful for my body that it shows me that this food was not in my highest alignment. So everything is striving for healing. Everything is striving for wholeness. Yeah. When we realize that, the only sensible reaction is gratitude. Gratitude. Gratitude that life is working like this. Gratitude that it gives us opportunities to realize that. Gratitude that there is negativity going on. Gratitude that there's partners breaking up with us. Gratitude for beautiful cars that are getting damaged, gratitude for our bodies not feeling well, gratitude for all the mess that is going on in this world. Like collectively, it's our invitation for purification. Because after the COVID lockdown, like every person that I talked to said, oh, now I value like human contact even more. I want to live in community. It's not a coincidence that this calling of going for community, building like places in nature where we actually share lives. It's not a coincidence that we did that after the COVID craziness, and that it was so successful. Maybe if we would embarked on this journey 3 years ago, it wouldn't be as successful. Like, I mean, successful with everybody that we attracted. Maybe we would have started like uh, on a smaller scale, and maybe this would be the right thing. I don't know. Who am I to judge? Who am I to judge? Like, reality is so infinite. Who am I to judge? It's so interesting. Exactly in this moment that I was talking about not being in resistance, I got another invitation to practice that, as it always is the case. The storage of my laptop was full, and so I first needed to save the recording on the external hard drive, which took 15 minutes, which means that the meeting I scheduled that will take place now, I cannot attend like in time. I need to postpone that, and then later I won't have time to do another thing because then I will be with Leona, and then Nenny is off, and yeah. And my invitation was like, okay, what's wrong with that? No, things turned out differently than I expected them to turn out. What can I learn from that? Maybe to let go of my expectations, maybe to be in the present moment. And of course, we are living in a world where that is very, very hard, where we schedule meetings and where we are with other people who have their own agendas as well. And of course, I don't say that this is easy, but it's a very, 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 very rewarding journey to embark towards on. And for me, like, it becomes so obvious that through embarking on this path, we are so much better equipped to deal with the things that are really at hand. Now I feel so much better equipped uh, to create the financial capital in order to repay the passport refunds. Like when I compare that to the beginning of this year, when I thought, okay, like to doing, then we will. It was actually no, no, you won't be doing that. But now, out of this acceptance, out of this inner strength, out of this inner power that I feel right now, it's something completely different. Yeah. Hmm. All right. That was a beautiful deep dive. I enjoyed it immensely. And I think it's one of the most important topics that we on our human journey um, yeah, can encounter. Hmm. Let me know if this was of any value to you. I'm actually super curious. These podcasts are quite long. This is not the snackable content you see on Instagram, and that's very important for me. I don't see myself as somebody who wants to do snackable content on Instagram and some like entertaining stories. I want to dive like really deep, and I want to share, and this takes time, and this takes time. I'm always wondering like who stays on these podcasts like till the end. If you are still watching or still listening, please. I put my Telegram handle in the show notes. Write me a message on Telegram. It's my personal account. It arrives on my personal phone. There's nobody in between. And give me a sign that you watched or listened until like the end of this episode. Um, I have a little surprise for you. Um, Looking forward to hear from you. So shoot me a message. And yes, everything that I'm doing with this podcast lives in the gift economy. So I just put it out there. There's no paywall. Yeah, yesterday I received a message of a woman saying like this is like every episode is worth for me so much more than some podcasts that I subscribe to where I pay or some online courses. And that's beautiful to hear. It's really beautiful to hear. And that's still at the same time, it's very important for me to make it accessible for everybody. And that's why I just put it out there. I hold nothing back. There's no like bonus content that's only accessible in some kind of um, overpriced mentoring program. Yeah, no, everything is there. I put everything out there. And if this brings any value to you and you feel the urge to contribute something, I really appreciate that. And the link to that is in the show notes. There you can send a gift in return. Thank you for that. And at the same time, I want to make clear that there's no expectation from my side. I'm putting it out there, and of course, the more contribution and the more positive feedback I receive, the more I'm able to continue this work and to spread all of that, and maybe to put even more out there. Like I want to share so much. I want to share like so much, and I want to up level the production quality like a lot. I have quite some visions for this deep dive series. Let's see how we can manifest them. All right. Thank you. Thank you for the past almost 2 hours. Full acceptance. Full acceptance, purification, liberation, freedom. This is our path. This is our path as human beings. It's not an easy path. It's maybe the biggest challenge that we can embark on in this human existence. But I can speak just for myself. It's a beautiful one. The past 2 weeks of my life were so rich, so emotional. I cried so much. I laughed so much. I feel so connected. Yeah. And I feel at peace. I feel a deep, deep peace with everything in my life. A deep peace that I've never felt before. Never felt before. No matter how successful or whatever I was. Like the peace that I feel now is all encompassing, just like there. Not always, of course. I'm still on a journey. I'm still on a journey, but the peace is there a lot of times, and that's beautiful. It liberates my whole being to be put out into this world and to manifest the things that want to be manifested in a grounded, centered manner. So yeah, thank you. Let me hear what this stirred up in you. I'm very curious. Cheers from beautiful Bali. Talk to you next time. Bye bye.